Midnight Carousel by RAVENNIGHT. They say God forgives everyone, but I'm not sure about old Harvey. His life went from bad to worse in a quick downward spiral. A man of 50, but looked 60. Life and time had worn him down further in his years. He lived in a trailer in his junkyard, the only things he had left. His wife had left, and his grown son avoided him because of his alcoholism. So Harvey just stayed in his junkyard unless he needed food or supplies. He didn't want to be around any people. They had already judged him. It was a beautiful fall night. Harvey was sitting outside by the fire, watching the embers. Suddenly, he heard some music. It sounded like an ice cream truck in the distance. He got up with a beer in hand to investigate. He followed the music. Finally, he looked to his left and saw a carousel. It was in a little bit of a clearing. He thought, when the hell did that get there? He looked around and checked it out. He hadn't even the faintest clue that it was in his junkyard or how it got there. He started to walk away from it when he was stopped. He blinked his eyes a few times and looked at his beer can. God, I must really be drunk to see this figure. It had the body of a snake and 3 heads of a goat upon its body, 6 red eyes and 6 red curled horns. It slithered over to Harvey and whispered in his ear. Then the creature slithered away. Harvey went to fetch some tools and worked on the carousel all night. The next day, Harvey was sitting in his chair. The fire had gone out and he just stared in front of him. "Harvey!" a man shouted out. "Harvey!" Harvey looked up at the man. "Hi, Gus. How can I help you?" "I need a part, Harvey. Can you help me?" "Why, sure, Gus." Harvey replied with an eerie smile. "Follow me." Harvey grabbed a wrench and started to walk, and Gus followed him. Harvey walked to the carousel. "I don't need a carousel. I need a part for my truck," Gus said. "I just want you to see what I was working on. Ain't no harm in it," Harvey responded. Gus asked, "Where are the horses?" Harvey walked up behind Gus and beat him with the wrench until it was fatal. He then took off the man's clothes and impaled him with a carousel pole. He reattached the pole to the carousel afterwards. He went and got some paint. He painted Gus into a pretty carousel horse. Anyone who came alone to the junkyard was killed, impaled, and put on the carousel. Then he painted his beautiful horses. Oh, how they were beautiful, he thought. Then he realized that the bench seats were empty. Although he hated to go out of the junkyard, he had to finish the carousel. He stalked out couples. He followed them everywhere until he had the opportunity to kill. He loaded them in his truck and brought them to the carousel. He put the men's arms around the women. He fixed their mouths with wire so their smiles would be permanent, at least until their faces rotted off. When he finished his masterpiece, he turned it on. He watched with an eerie grin as he watched the human horses go up and down, the smiling, wired faces of the couples on the benches. He looked over and saw the strange animal again. The strange animal slithered over and touched Harvey. He screamed in an excruciating pain. Red horns grew out of his head. His clothes tore off as his body morphed. He was no longer fat and bald. He was brownish red from head to toe. He was muscular. His feet turned into hooves. He let out a wicked laugh. He was happy to become an eternal demon to terrorize the junkyard. His reward for making the devil's carousel.